So now the press is unhappy because they're being called the enemy of the people. Trump went nuts over the weekend with one of his tweet storms, and one of his tweets said, "The fake news hates me, saying that they hate me, saying that they are the enemy of the people, only because they know it's true. I am providing a great service by explaining this to the American people. They purposely cause great division and distrust. They can also cause war. They are very dangerous and sick." And of course, Jim, look at me, I'm Jim Acosta, is just, oh my goodness, how could anybody hate a guy like that? How could anybody hate him for the wonderful job he is doing, shouting meaningless questions at people that they can't even hear and then complaining about the fact they don't answer them? So he challenges Sarah Sanders to take back what the president said, and stand up against the president. And he tells her that she has to do this. She gives him a little bit of self-knowledge, which he can't hear. He actually stormed out or pretended to storm out because he couldn't bear hearing what she was saying. Listen to this exchange.
I think it would be a good thing if you were to say right here at this briefing that the press, the people who are gathered in this room right now, doing their jobs every day, asking questions of officials like the ones you brought forward earlier, are not the enemy of the people. I think we deserve that.
I think the president has made his position known. I also think it's ironic.
Would you mind telling us,
I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay, well,
I politely waited, and I even called on you despite the fact that you interrupted me while calling on your colleague.
Well,
I said it's ironic.
Which is why I interrupted.
I'm trying.
But if you finish, if you would not mind letting me have a follow-up, that would be fine. But
it's ironic, Jim, that not only you and the media attack the president for his rhetoric when they frequently lower the level of conversation in this country. Repeatedly, the media resorts to personal attacks without any content other than to incite anger. The media has attacked me personally on a number of occasions, including your own network, said I should be harassed as a life sentence, that I should be choked. ICE officials are not welcomed in their place of worship, and personal information is shared on the internet. When I was hosted by the Correspondents Association, of which almost all of you are members of, you brought a comedian up to attack my appearance and call me a traitor to my own gender. In fact, as far as I know, I'm the first press secretary in the history of the United States that's required Secret Service protection. The media continues to ratchet up the verbal assault against the president and everyone in this administration, and certainly we have a role to play, but the media has a role to play for the discourse in this country as well.
You know, you want to see just in action. There's no word, I think, for the absence of self-knowledge. I mean, is there a word for that? I can't think of a word that just means some people who are just stone unable to see themselves. Because listen, I would be happy for Trump. You know, that enemy of the people has historical provenance and all this, and I get that. And I certainly don't want to see any reporters attacked, although that did happen under the last administration. But you just want to see the utter absence of self-knowledge. Here's Brian Stelter, who is he's their media reporter. He's CNN's media reporter, complaining about Trump's tweet. Just pay close attention to this. I mean, I'll unpack it when he comes back, but pay close attention to what he says.
I know we're all used to him tweeting all the time, but just think about what he's saying here. The president, with his back up against the wall, is saying journalists are dangerous, sick, enemies of the people. That's where we are. This is America. Let me show you a few of the reactions from journalists this morning. Chuck Todd calling this outrageous. He's saying here he tries not to take the bait, but this time he's reacting in the hopes that rational folks realize this is wrong and dangerous. Bill Kristol, an outspoken Trump critic, says the president sounds closer in spirit to Vladimir Putin than America. And S.V. Date, a White House reporter for the HuffPost, pointed out that other leaders in the past have also used the phrase enemy of the people. Among those leaders, Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler. Look, enemy of the people does have a Stalin-era connotation. It was used in order to inflict pain and cause violence on populations of people throughout history.
He's complaining that Trump is calling the enemy of the people while calling him Putin, Stalin, and Hitler, which, by the way, they've been doing since he started running for office. It's not like they're responding. It's him responding to them. They started it. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. I mean, that is what it comes down to. They can dish it out, but they cannot take it. And by the way, if you don't think this happened before, just remember Obama waged war against Fox News while complaining that Fox News was waging war against him. There was a protest, and this is not Obama's fault, but there was a protest in 2008 where Fox News reporters were mobbed by angry people. Today, just to show you how this works, Candace Owen, our pal, who we've had on the show, and I'd love to have her back again, but Candace Owen, over the weekend, she took out Sarah Jeong's tweets against white people, and she replaced Jews and black people, and Twitter suspended her. They've never suspended Sarah Jeong, but they suspended Candace Owen. Then when people said, hey, wait a minute, look what you did, they apologized. But that's the point. That is the double standard. She's with Charlie Kirk in Philadelphia. She's surrounded by a mob of Antifa people threatening her and just cursing. I don't even know. Well, play the footage. You know, they're surrounding, I called her Candace Owen, it's Owens, obviously, and she's a black girl, and they're surrounded by cops who are blacks, and they're shouting that she's racist, and they're shouting the cops are racist. They're calling the cops racist. It reminds me of the old joke about Poland that in other countries, what is it? In other countries, if you're Jewish, they hate you. But in Poland, if they hate you, you're Jewish, that they just decide that you must be Jewish because they hate you. So you're a racist no matter what color you are. And it's a white mob. That's the other thing. It's a mob of white people calling her and these black cops. I mean, these guys have lost their mind. I got to play one more cut, and then we're going to go to talk to Knowles. One more cut of David Brooks as the little glimmering of light. He's the New York Times from Knucklehead Row. His little glimmer of light starts to dawn on David Brooks that maybe, just maybe, the press has a little bit of responsibility in this.
A lot of us mainstream journalists have become delegitimized in the eyes of a lot of Trump supporters, sometimes for our own fault. Turns out if you don't hire from large segments of American society, you become detached from them and they write you off. And a lot of that's happened. But then the fires have been fanned by Trump himself. And basically what seems to be happening is a complete inversion of where information comes from. And those of us in the mainstream media who used to provide information are now discounted in large sections, and this new thing has arisen.
But even in the logic of what he just said, if they hadn't started the fire by completely ignoring most of the country, there wouldn't be any flames for Donald Trump to fan. Just a little bit of self-knowledge, a little bit of reform, and all of this could change. It can't be forced on them because of the First Amendment. It shouldn't be forced on them because the First Amendment is a good thing, but they could do it themselves. But will they? I've never seen people with such a deep, deep lack of self-knowledge.